So, hello everyone here. Today I'll talk about when does an anime stop being an anime, right? It's a topic that I had in my mind for a while actually, and I definitely might make a longer video about the topic. But I do find it kind of funny, right? Where, like, where's the line, right? Where an anime just becomes hentai, right? This episode is like, well, it's, so basically, right? This episode of Tensei, it is incredibly hentai, right? And when I say that, I mean storyline, okay? I'm not talking necessarily about, like the actual visual standpoint, right? And in that sense, I guess it's fine, right? But my visual standpoint is not really hen, right? Kind of a little bit etchy, I suppose. And there's clearly a lot of more animes were way more etchy and lewd, right? From a visual standpoint. But my story aspect, this is straight up just a hengaka, right? So, what happens is that the main character, of course, sees this, sexy elf lady, right? They won't sleep with him. He can get hard, right? And she basically does everyone else right. So he comes home and she's doing a guy in the window talking to him. As the moderation part, this here, right, is a very common storyline. And this in here is like straight up from my hand, right? And it's very, very common. You see it all the time in these netto hentais where, the main character is talking to his wife, maybe the mother. They're basically two different, I guess, sub-genres of netto rare. It's either like a guy, like his wife is doing it, right, with usually the boss, or maybe like some old romance from her from high school, something. But usually it's kind of like that, or it's usually like, the guy, it's like the mom doing her son's bully or maybe best friend, but usually the bully, yeah. There's like those two storylines basically, right? But they all have this storyline, especially the mom, Netherland, has this kind of storyline, right? Where the mother is doing it, talking to her son, and obviously he's younger than her and so on, yeah, and it's like an elf milf, so it feels exactly like right? But I think that is interesting because there are some animes where I really feel like this anime here potentially, but there are other animes, right, where I feel they're just playing on this, like the hen storylines. The main character being frustrated, can't get it up or whatever, yeah, and he's lying there in bed all angry. But it's like, but seriously, right, I think this is a very more and more a common thing in anime these days, where I feel like the animes are going into this, like, they're basically just taking tropes, right, from typical hen stuff and making fun of them, right? Rent a Girlfriend, the whole anime is basically just a trope on hen stuff, right? Yeah. Like, seriously, Rent a Girlfriend, half of it is like really annoying romance tropes, right? Another half is just straight up like hentai tropes that they are making fun of, yeah. And I think it's pretty common these days that you take these animes and they are seriously, right? I feel that the author of many mangas these days, or animes, whatever, they just look at like popular hen stuff and say this is a common storyline, oh yeah, the cheating, or this storyline where like they lose their memory and they can't remember that they were actually listening, or whatever, or they change gender, oh, we have to do with this now. Like, yeah, this happens, and it just play on that, right? And I feel, what do you guys think? This anime here is, I mean, the Mushoku Tensei, right? Last week it almost got cancelled, it got cancelled earlier, yeah, but last week. This week is like, when does it stop being, when does it stop being anime? Yeah, because I do feel it's interesting because, like I said, from a visual standpoint, it's clearly is fine. I mean, yeah, you see her boobies a little bit, but it's already shown, right? But from a story aspect, it's incredibly just like a sexual storyline, right? Which is basically like a porno or whatever, yeah, netto or whatever, yeah. Hentai 100% storyline. And honestly, while I really enjoyed the episode, and it's fun and so on, it's a comedic aspect, it doesn't really like move the character that much. No, it's just basically it's like an episode of netto. Yeah, it's like the most netto I've ever seen in my life. In anime, I have seen other animes with netto rare. Golden Time comes to mind. We had this big netto rare plot line, but most animes, I guess, Rent a Girlfriend I mentioned also netto rare because he likes thinking about the girl. But the thing is that Rent a Girlfriend though, the main character Kazuya, ultimate simp, right? He actually enjoys it though. Yeah, he's like a weird, very. He's the worst main character. He likes it. He's like, yeah, just do it, more guy. Yeah, he's like, yeah, it's hot. He likes it, right? No, so he's just into that thing. But normally they hate it, right? Specifically netto rare, specifically. But not only else in anime this smart netto rare, and I honestly, like I said, I enjoyed the episode like last week. I really enjoyed the episode. It doesn't really move the storyline at all, except of course the school invitation in the end of the episode. So you can basically skip the first like 15 or so minutes. And the only like the 5 minutes are relevant is that he gets a letter to go to school, right? And then him and GHISLAINE, they go to school in the ending credits of the episode. The rest is her having sex, basically. Like, seriously, that's what I mean too. And these animes, people always try to get these animes casted, right? And I'm genuinely being like, well, I enjoyed the episode because of the comedic segment. Because I am a guy that likes, ecchi jokes, right? So I mean, I liked the episode, but also I mean, it's like, man, this episode moved the storyline like 1 inch. Yeah, they could have basically had her arriving, giving him the letter, and then they arrive at the school. They could have been the same episode. Everything else in between is just the main character being sexually frustrated, and then this super horny elf has sex with everyone except him, literally everyone except him. And after she does it with the guys, she goes to his bedroom, lays in his bed, hugging him, while she's like covered in their, in their man juice. He's like, what is happening? Yeah, the whole episode is just like a goddamn, just like an ecchi joke all time through. That being said, though, I want to point it out that I always enjoyed stuff like American Pie and so on too, right? All the stuff from the West as well, right? With ecchi jokes. So, I mean, yeah, I think the episode is comedy gold, right? Genuinely, I really love the episode. But I can really see how people, honestly, this I can see people getting more frustrated with this anime more than last season when, of course, the main character has sex with Ares, right? Because that was like the sex with Ares was like a very, very important plot point, right, for the main character. It was very important for the development of the character, and especially now then with his ED stuff. But this episode, I don't feel really evolved the characters. They were just like, here's super horny elf, and she just does everyone, yeah, and then it's over. Yeah, it's like, what was the point of the episode except it's being like super hentai? Yeah. Again, from a story aspect, not from a visual standpoint, yeah, purely like purely from a story aspect. It's just like, okay, yeah, okay, like it didn't move anything. It is a very weird episode, I think, genuinely. I still love it, but it's like, yeah, I can really see people getting angry over this thing, more probably than last week. This is, again, Mushoku Tensei getting cancelled, maybe, yeah, but honestly, I think people should be angry over this episode than the Ares stuff, honestly, right? Because the Ares stuff, again, it has a lot of plot points. I think that actually is very important. When is the plot, when is all the sex stuff with plot, right? Yeah, this is like purely just like rare baiting, hen baiting, yeah. This is just hen baiting 100%. There's no relevance to her doing every guy and then constantly having sex in front of him. Yeah, constantly. Like, it has nothing to do with the storyline. It doesn't evolve. It doesn't help him getting excited either. It does nothing. It's just like pure torture. It's really funny, but it's just pure torture for the main character. It doesn't evolve the storyline for a second. And the letter is irrelevant for her sex stuff. If she got the letter by sleeping with the professor or school, that also be kind of funny. Yeah, if she got the letter for recommendation to Rudy, right, by having sex with the teacher or something, that would be funny. But no, she's just doing ever run anyway. There's no relevance to it whatsoever. She isn't even using her body for relevance for the storyline. No, I don't know. What do you guys think? But honestly, I think that was here really points to that, like, where's the line, right? From a visual standpoint, it's clear to pass a line. There's so many ecchi anime I keep saying that are way more visually hen, right? But from a story aspect, it's probably, I would say, basically hen. Yeah, it's like nothing is happening. He's doing everyone, so it's just like, yeah, it's an interesting episode. If they had visualized it though, it's the last thing though. I'll say censorship. I do feel the episode is heavily censored though in the end though, yeah. Because why it didn't have the black screen? Last episode was constantly black screen, right? It was terrible. And I think me and people expected this week to be very, very censored. And it was censored whatsoever. However, wasn't it kind of censored? And what I mean, of course, is that why they didn't censor her doing it at all, right? They didn't censor her, like right in the bedroom or whatever, yeah, or the windows or one. They didn't censor it, but they also didn't actually show anything. You know what I mean? Yes, we see her bending over the window, but you don't see her buttocks, so you don't see her nip, you don't see anything, right? She's doing it in the bedroom. You see her face, but you don't actually see her again in actual positioning. So it does feel heavily censored in a way, where it's so censored that they didn't even like really go into any animating any actual scene, right? They just kept showing like frames of basically her face or afterwards, or just incredibly very, very heavily implied but never showing it. So in a way it feels even more censored than the black stuff, because the black stuff is like, okay, we have done this scene, right, and then we're censoring it for TV or whatever, you can buy the Blu-ray. Here it feels like, okay, we have all these like 55 sex scenes, but we didn't animate any of them. We just have her afterward happy that she did it or something. Yeah, it feels, what do you think about that? I think it's more censored in a sense. Yeah, like it's even worse censorship. It's very, very censored in a sense. Like they don't even do it out. I'm guessing that the novels are probably more detailed, which has to do with guys or something. Even though it's a rather quite detailed, which is explained to him though. It's weird. But yeah, I think this kind of is weird. Especially because the episode is so incredibly, as I keep saying, hentai. why is it also so censored, right? Because, you know, if you watch a lot of other ecchi animes, right, where they don't actually do it, but it's very, very lewd, very ecchi, very plot heavy, so to speak, very op heavy, they would be way more visualized, but actually nothing happens, right? Here, everything happens with her, but nothing is visualized. So it feels like a really weird thing too, where if you know what I mean, like the storyline is so 18 plus, right? But the visualization is like 15, 13 or whatever, yeah. They're visualizing it very, very poor, to speak, right? From a lewd scale, but the storyline is maximum lewd. So you can find animes that are way less like lewd from a story aspect, but they're way more lewd from a visual aspect, right? So I feel it misses that mark too, right? Honestly, the episode kind of misses that mark. It kind of bothers me, right? Censorship, yeah, it misses the mark with a censoring. Like I said, they're censoring kind of like the visual of it, right? But the storyline is completely batshit insane, right? The storyline is so hen. And that is left there, but then you think the visualization should be a little more close to that, right? Because like I said, keep saying, you can find 5,000 other animes that are, you know, incredibly more ecchi, right? And they don't have the same storyline whatsoever. So it feels really weird in that sense. And that's kind of where I will end it, guys. For you guys think, but I think it's heavily censored in a really weird way, right? And and honestly, the black bar thing would probably be better, because then at least you can buy the Blu-ray DVD or whatever, right, and get the actual scenes, get a little more ecchi scenes. But now it's like, no, they don't even animate them, right? I remember when they add Redo Healer, they had two versions, right? One of them, they straight up had the scenes, and the other version was just like the dragon or something. Yeah, so in some parts of the episode, you will see a dragon sleeping. It's just lying on the ground sleeping, right? Or like a vase something. And we watched the uncensored version, there's actual, like, you know, smashing scene right there. But here, I doubt that. It could be that we do see Rudy's face at this, and I guess it could have actually animated the actual scene and then have it the Blu-ray when we see what he's seeing, basically. I guess they could have that. I doubt it. I doubt that, though. But they could do that, I guess, for the Blu-ray, like adding in the actual in-between scenes, but I feel it's unlikely. So it is heavily censored, and also kind of like, when does it stop being ecchi or something? It's a weird episode. I think it's very weird. It feels very, very weird in a sense. But anyway, guys, hope you guys liked my video. I think I'm kind of spitballing here, but I think it's an interesting topic to talk about, you know, like how the episode is so ecchi from a story aspect, but from a visual aspect, like I said, yeah, it's censored like heavily. But anyway, guys, please subscribe and have a great day.